Hey there, Chloe here, your podcast co-host. We get asked all the time what we do to take care of ourselves. So we decided to gather the top 5 self-care tips and techniques we use on the daily and gift them to you for free. We're calling it the ultimate self-care bundle to clear your energy, boost your vitality, and feed your soul. We'll share the golden rule to health, well-being, and happiness no one should live without. A delicious energetic detox bath recipe that both relaxes and clears energetic invasions at the same time. A quick immune boost we swear by, and 2 other goodies that will support you when you need it the most. So if you're feeling drained, out of sync, or just need a little or big reset, go to lachiaramethod.com/podcast-bundle to claim your free gift. That link will also be in the show notes. We hope these tools bring you as much support as they brought to our lives. Now let's get on with the show. Welcome to the Activate Change podcast, where transformation is just a conversation away. Some episodes of this podcast offer an intimate front row seat to an authentic and unscripted personal healing session with renowned healer and creator of the La Chiara method, Gabriele La Chiara. Our incredibly generous and courageous guests explore their genuine struggles, longings, and deepest desires in these sessions. And we, as listeners, have the honor and privilege to witness their sacred and profound healing journeys. As you listen, we invite you to receive as well, feeling into where the healing and insights that transpire might spark transformation in your own life. And stay tuned until the end because I, Chloe Faith Urban, will discuss the session and share a skill or framework that Gabriele used, which you can apply to your own personal healing. And because of the La Chiara method's deep commitment to collaboration and perpetual learning, some episodes will highlight conversations with other thought leaders, healers, and activists on the path to bring healing, liberation, and true equality to the world. This podcast does contain adult language and content, so if you have little ones around you, you may want to use headphones. For this episode, we're doing something a little different. We wanted to share with you the post-election healing circle we hosted the day after the U.S. election. We gathered to hold space for each other, to grieve, process, and remember that our work and hope don't end here. We gathered because we were asked to, and also because we care so deeply for you, for all of humanity, and for the planet. We gathered because when things feel hopeless and terrifying, we know deep in our bones that coming together in community can be such medicine. We really do need each other. Gabriele and I want you to know that we're here, that we love you, and we're deeply committed to the path of love and liberation, peace and compassion, one tender moment at a time. And we're in this for the long haul. This is a space to honor our resilience and find our grounding in a world that needs us now more than ever. We've edited out personal shares and commentary to respect everyone's privacy. However, I, Chloe, will provide some context so that we can keep in the powerful insights Gabriele offered in response to the group shares. Let's dive in.
Hi, everybody. If you don't know me, I am Gabriele La Chiara. I am the founder and creator of the La Chiara method, and I'm here with Chloe Faith Urban, who can give a wave. And we co-direct our current programs and are here today to bring our hearts and our souls and our bodies in present time with you and circle up to hold space, to offer a little perspective and healing along the way, and to help land, feel, be present with all of you at this time of the election and the election results. And so let's all take a moment together. You feel free to be in self-determination in this space. You are welcome to, if I offer a meditation or someplace to go or something to say or think, Do it or don't do it. Be in your own determination and self-determination of what you need. If I ask you to close your eyes and you don't want to, please don't do that. I want you to be you. I'm going to take a moment to close my eyes. And what I like to do at the beginning of any circle is just take a second to land myself and therefore all of us. So do the same. Find your own way into this quote unquote room. Imagine that you just got here, walked in from somewhere, sat down, and are finding your seat and your place in the time and space we're in. And so take your own moment to do that, and I will do that for us too. So I'd like to invoke the power and intention of community, and not community as a group of people who already know who they are and have defined themselves, but community as in collective, as in every single human on this planet. I'd like to invoke that the way we show up with one another in time and space counts. And that in every moment of pain and suffering, confusion and fear, terror, joy even, and excitement, it's made that much more potent when we link it together with others. And this intention is to be together in all of what's here as we navigate, feel, take a moment to process the shock. For so many of us, this election and this win, Trump's win, is a shocking, soul reverberating, a terrifying experience. While I know that's true, I also know that there are people celebrating and shouting for glory and relieved, and all is welcome. I know that I am feeling the reverberations, the shock, the intensity, and the fear. I also know that in me is a deep vein of faith to know the long haul and to believe in something so much bigger than this one moment, and yet to understand the complications, the risks of the decisions being made. And so let's just clear. I use a short activation. It's an empowered statement. It's, again, take it or leave it, but activate change and generate healing immediately. I'm going to invite you to feel inside yourself and for a moment acknowledge and validate, honor that you showed up right now, that you're listening at some point in the future, or you're right here on the screen. And recognize, please, that by being here, you are helping someone else. What you bring, your you-ness, be that your grief or your pain or your joy or your faith or your hope or your confusion, it still helps someone else in this space. So acknowledge yourself for being a contribution, for caring, and for the deep, deep, deep you that is here. And then gently, if you're not already, open your eyes and feel who's contributing to you. Feel the bodies, the connections, the eyes, the families. Feel one another. We're not completely alone. And allow yourself to be in appreciation for something that someone will say, do, feel, or be in this space, whether we see it or not, will have a reverberation and an impact on you. And give yourself that moment to receive. To receive. You will share an experience. You will feel grief together. You may have the same fears. You may not. Thank you. Thank you, each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking care of yourselves and saying yes. Thank you for honoring me and Chloe with your hearts, with your pain, with your lives.
Thank you, Gabrielle, and thank you all of you for being here. It's just such an honor and privilege to gather together and be together and hold this space and grieve together. I want to first just offer a breathing technique we use to help just calm the primal brain, the fight, flight, freeze response. And we'll sort of do that as prep for a bit of a guided meditation. The breathing technique, you can do it or not, but is really quite simple. All you do is take your hands and put them behind your earlobes, right at the base of that hard bone and kind of at the top of the little indentation that's there behind your earlobe. And we're just gonna really imagine that your fingers are sort of going in and just massaging that primal brain, the amygdala there in the base of the skull. And we're just gonna breathe in and press in, and then release on the exhale. And about 4 breaths here. Breathe in, press in, releasing on the exhale. Breathing in, pressing in, releasing on the exhale. Breathing in, pressing in, and releasing on the exhale. And then we'll reverse it. So we'll release and breathe in and push on the exhale. And release, breathing in. Release on the exhale, or push in on the exhale. And release, breathing in. Pushing in on the exhale. And one more. Breathing in. Pushing on the exhale. And you can be with this guided meditation visualization in whichever way you want, whether that's with your eyes open, closed, you can lay down, you can sit up, just finding a comfortable space for yourself. First, just inviting you to feel the weight of your body on the surface beneath you. Noticing your breath. Seeing if you can do that without judgment, whether it's deep or shallow or whatever, to just really be with your breath as it is now. Just being with that breath, feeling the weight of your body, feeling the surface beneath you, meeting your body, supporting you. And just noticing whatever is here in this moment in your body, sensations, feelings of tension or constriction or spaciousness, love, connection. Noticing what's here and what's present in this moment. And if there are places of constriction or contraction, seeing if you can take your breath and breathe into those places in your body, offering the spaciousness of your breath to offer care, spaciousness to the contraction. Really wanting to sit with this question of if we're for this body, this physical body, the sensations, the feelings, the emotions, the pain, the joy, all of it. If we're this little tiny body in the center of an infinite being, that place where you have intuition, awareness, perspective, and it's an infinite orb. And you're just this tiny little body in this infinite orb of consciousness, your being. Feeling into that. Like, what if that's true? What if it's possible that there's a resource beyond just this physical body of you that's breathing life, that's bringing awareness, knowing, conviction, inspiration. And feeling into that energy, that consciousness, that awareness that's plugged into divinity, humanity. And if you are a tiny little body in the center of this infinite orb, this resource, like the greatest parent ever you could ever imagine, what does your being want you to know in this moment? What information, perspective? And it could literally just be a sensation in your body that's arriving. Could be the grief. It could be whatever it is that's there for you arising in this moment. And feeling what that being consciousness, that answer those to that question, what it stirs in the body. What does it feel like? What sensation? Mm. And if there's a part of you that's here, this being of you, a part of aspect of yourself that has resource, that has knowing, that has conviction, that has inspiration in this moment, that has a knowing beyond the just the physical form of the body. Let's clear anything that would block us from knowing, having that perspective, and also honoring, knowing, feeling, being with the fear, the grief. And what if it all gets to exist? The awareness of your expansion, the spaciousness of you, and also the pain, the discomfort, the intensity, the fear, the terror, whatever is stirring in you in this moment. And if that being could just hold you, scoop you up, be in the comforting, holding spaciousness of your being. Does that open, allow in your body? And if really none of those sensations, feelings, thoughts are wrong, who would you be? And activate change and generate healing immediately. And let's activate the divinity in every cell and particle of your body. Activating the divinity in your cells and particles and bringing that down through the center of your infinite being, extending it through all of you in all times, spaces, dimensions, and universes. Activate change and generate healing. And just noticing now the body, scanning it again. Have the sensations changed? What are you noticing now? And when you're ready, just arriving back into the space. First, if you want to just take a soft gaze, if you had your eyes closed, if you want to just sort of orient by looking around the room for a moment, just orienting yourself back into your space. And then you can bring your eyes to the screen when you're ready and take in all these beautiful faces that have gathered, these beautiful beings that have gathered with us tonight. Thank you all. I'm going to hand it over to Gabriele.
I want to call in all of the ancestors from our space here, but all of those ancestors that survived the unsurvivable, that lived through the wars, the Holocaust. I've been thinking so much, like all day long, about the most recent Holocaust and the impacts on the Jewish community and the amazing resilience to be here still now and to have overcome. And yes, there's still complications and war, confusion. But so many of your ancestors, I've been thinking of I was thinking of Kamala Harris, her Black roots, her Asian roots, and the United States built on slavery. She had an immense win yesterday. I do not want to discount and devalue what she did and what we did. That BIPOC woman stood up for us. She put her life on the line. There would have been a time she would have been killed in a flat second and not even allow that. She stepped forward. She's still standing so regal. I just listened to her speech before I came on. She's standing in her regal, soulful willingness to keep fighting, to know the long game is important, and to recognize that, no, we didn't win today, but that doesn't mean we won't win. She's a powerful human, and look at how many votes she got. That was like unheard of at a different time in society. That was unheard of. She had success all over the place. That shows us how much change has happened. Even as we face and look in the eye a Trump victory, we see change. We see it happening. And there is a need for us to stop, pause, reflect, and feel the deflation, the pain, the anger, and the terror of loss. There is loss. There's shock. And there's potentially lives at risk in all kinds of ways we may or may not know. But my knowing is to call in all of the bounty of the ancestors' resilience, those of yours and those of others who have found a way somehow to make it through things that were so, so painfully tragic. And to live for the future generations. We may be living, we may be choosing, we may be working for the future generations so that they may have something we can't, so that our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren can live to say and feel and do things that were unthinkable even now. So I want to take that moment and recognize and feel the power and potency of the support we have in our bones to keep going. And to grieve. The pain is not wrong. We can do it all, as Chloe said. It's a redirection. We have to stop. We've been stopped in our tracks. We have to stop, reset, recover, and then reconnect to the mission to find our place, our contribution, and how we will show up. We will need each other. There is no question about it. And we need more of us connected, more of us sharing vision, more of us listening to the vision of others, especially the vision of our BIPOC communities. We need to show up and make room to hear what we're not hearing, to feel, to be present, and to choose life together. We're going to know that someone, maybe right this second, I have faith that you don't. Maybe someone has grief that you don't feel right now. Maybe someone else is terrorized. When we look at collective, we can have it all. And there is room for every one of our experiences to be held. We need each other because we can't ever have all of it in one place. We need the somber, the disconnect, the dissociated. We need the depth and the grace and the light and the capacity, the hope. And enough of us to hold every single facet, those we can't even see possible. So thank you for showing up. We're a small and yet large version, but we're a micro vision of what it takes to show up and say we care enough about ourselves and each other to be present. To express our terror, to let your fear help me figure out how my contribution can make a difference, to let your pain inform me, to let mine inform you. We share. So as bodies, we are formed, literally formed inside and with bodies. We cannot get here without being dependent on one another. We have to have another body to actually build ourselves from, to come through, to be alive and then be taken care of by someone, a body. We are empathic by nature. We feel because we are alive. That is our gift. That is our truth. That is always who we are. When big things happen, they rattle us and we feel more. We feel more collectively. We feel more individually. We're supposed to feel. We're supposed to feel rattled when you're suffering. I'm supposed to feel that. And when I'm suffering, you're supposed to feel it too. We spend so much time trying not to feel others' pain or to put it in a box and say it's wrong. And even in our teachings, I'm often trying to help people let go of what's not theirs. And yet sometimes what's not ours is ours. And that we are here together to share the pain, to share the steps, to share the questions, to share the unknown visions that have yet to reveal, that can reveal when we come together through it all. So let's breathe that in for just a moment, because our collective voices are going to create something right now. Your wisdom, your sharing, your truth of this moment collectively builds, reaches, metabolizes, integrates, and becomes me and you and us until we have enough of that to create the change we hope for, the change we vision, to humanize each and every one of us, including ourselves. And by the way, let's stop dehumanizing our own selves while we try to take care of others. It's painful. If I sacrifice my life and hurt myself to take care of you, I have only dehumanized another person, which happens to be me. Let's not do that either. We can have it all. There are enough of us. There are enough hands and mouths. There are enough knowings to show up and know when it's your time and when it's your time to rest. This is the long game. This is life. This is the life we live. It's nowhere else. And activate change and generate healing immediately. And activating that divinity in the cells and particles of our bodies is activating the inclusion of our humanness, our divineness, our essence, our aliveness, and all of life. All of it. Not excluding the things we don't want. Not bypassing the truths. For me, I look Trump in the eye and I cannot bypass the suffering on earth. I want to feel that. I don't like it. I want to remember. I want to embrace that someone else is feeling safer because this choice, this decision in our country has happened. And I want to understand that as deeply as I want to understand what makes you feel safe and me feel safe. We need it all. And activate change and generate healing immediately. The voices, listening. How do we listen? How do we encourage talking that isn't just winning? How do we stop the divide that now wants to make those people who voted differently than me wrong, stupid, less than? Chloe talked and I talked about it so much today. How do we stop the segregations and yet still hold our truths, hold our visions, hold our wants, hold our values, and fight for them? And activate change and generate healing.
Someone shares about regret.
It is so often, always maybe, in grieving and in loss that we have regret. And that information of what we can't fix, that we could have done differently, does become either a pain point that we live in or motivation. And I hear your pain point and I hear motivation, and I just appreciate what you're naming. I'm sure many of us, I know I can raise my hand and say, I have pieces of those pain points of where I could have done more, should have done more, maybe wanted to do more. Let's take a moment and return in. So take your own mind's eye and let it land in you somehow as best you can. And to feel and even be aware of a touch of what you might need in order to process this moment. What is the micro step of self-care? And in that invitation, what does that look like if we create an internal world that reflects what we want externally? What does that look like? What does it look like, the wars we create inside, the places we have outcast in our own beings, the authoritarian control we're putting over one part of ourselves, the force, the rejection, the anger that we slay inward, the dissociation, ignoring, denial of parts of who we are. What happens when we say no to that? How much more comes to the table if we embrace our humanness and all of it? The capacity and wholeness of who we are. And that doesn't mean fixing it, perfecting it, doing it right. It just means walking with yourself. To make room so that we can walk with others with those complicated stories. And activate change and generate healing immediately. When I hear someone asking the why, I will say, like, what was there a message as to why this happened? I'll say that I want to say more. There's more of a message coming through me. I keep feeling and hearing that these are the years of unveiling. We're ripping the denial off so that we can see who we really are. And that as a society, we have been in a lot of denial and avoidance and resistance to knowing what's true in a whole society, as a whole entire United States of America, and what that includes. And that so many of us have a tendency to want to see in our tunnel vision of who we are. And that as we do that, even as I saw this as Harris Rose, we wanted to tunnel and say, that's the answer, that's it. We can just go here. And that the collective urge to not know and the collective urge to say unaware is just enormous. It's enormous. The pain in waking up is huge. The pain in waking up is huge, and for all of us differently. But to feel and understand that we can handle, and I would say that I want so much to keep showing up to show us and bring us whatever we need to remember that we can handle feeling the pain of others. That pain being something we consider painful because however they orient is painful for us, or that pain being something they hold that I don't understand yet but want to. And that it is true, there is power over. This whole entire country was built on a divide conquer structure that has not dismantled. That is the two-party system, divide, conquer, one to the other, to the other, to the other. We struggle That has not dismantled. I don't know that that will dismantle. Who knows? What I know is we can fight for more of that dismantling, as much as we can get, and to begin trajectories for the long haul in that way. And that includes figuring out where it is that we don't like the veil lifted. We don't want to feel the grief. We think it's bigger than we are. And also to be cautious of the brainwashing, because the powers to be, especially in these authoritarian patriarchal systems, the powers of oppression. And I was having this conversation with some of you who were on here before. The powers of oppression are so destabilizing, numbing, disorienting, and confusing. And they want us to be numbed, confused. They want us to think fantasy thoughts about what we think we can do so that they can keep slamming us with our unawareness. They want us to be stabilized. And so much of what our pain is really the pain of our anger, rage, fury, and upset at oppression and what it has done, what it continues to do. One of our jobs is to rise up right through that and ask, what is it going to take to be able to look all of that in the face of what is, even as we can't fix, change, or control that, and still create a new way. And the way is not here. We haven't done it yet. Whatever we need to do to change society, we don't have it yet. We don't know. And to stand in the face of not knowing. So mostly my collective message has been there. And that also not to forget the win of Kamala Harris and to give her that win, because she won big, and not in a win like I'm going to pretend she won the election and be like ridiculous, you know, in a win. And that's a lot of people that she gained momentum with. We want to take those people and not split again and lose momentum, and yet figure out where that momentum can go, right? So we need more change. It's humbling to look and say, wow, there's that much of our population that would vote in these ways. There's that much of our population, some of which is aligning with their religions, some of which is aligning with their bank accounts or business, and seeing this, Trump is the business I want, and not caring that the business doesn't uphold a value. And that is so much happening in society everywhere. The leaders of businesses are not upholding values. So some of what we're seeing is the confusion of what it means to use power in ways that could be, truly equitable. But we don't know. And this is the reality we have. And it is important that we grieve it and see it and own it and recognize it and not lose ourselves to it, so that we actually can come through this moment with bigger questions, bigger asks, of ourselves and each other. I think healing within is huge in that process. It's not the only process. But when we heal our relationships to one another, when we heal inside, we have more resilience. When we can make space for someone else who that is what they're doing, and help them to heal themselves first. Yeah, there's so much happening in my consciousness. And I want to encourage us to stay with whatever gives you faith. And when you don't have it, borrow someone else's. Really, sometimes we just need to borrow someone else's faith. We need help. We might not have it right now, but let's reach for it wherever it is. And I heard that in Harris's speech tonight. I heard her begging us to have faith and to not lose ground, and I hear in myself not to let Trump win by giving our souls, our spirits, our essence, and by basically vacating our being consciousness. Right? Let's become brighter, bolder, more aware, and more clear, and fighting for what we believe in, right? Yeah, and how many of us are just fighting in our own homes with the people we love? It's like we're stuck here. We're doing the war inside, and so much of the work is outside. In terms of how do we heal the conflicts inside our own units that happen all the time, that so many people are living in, so that we actually can use the inside connections to actually fuel us to be able to do the work that's needed in society. So we need our energy. Our intention is very, very intimately and deeply to grow laterally this year, and to give people resources. If you don't know it, our life coach community, our radical life coach community, has a peer-to-peer model so that people can support each other. And there's so much free support going on amongst the peers once they're trained and offering each other healing sessions. Know that we're really trying to build out a community that can carry each other's hearts and really do the work of being present in that way.
Someone speaks about having a fear that it could get really, really bad, and their confusion about how to hold people's denial and when to speak their truth about how bad they really think it could get. They mentioned Poland and the Holocaust.
I really appreciate that voice. I think that that's what I'm speaking to when I'm talking about the unveiling and this balance of how we hold the potential collective tragedies that might happen, the collective trauma that is happening, the tragedies that have happened, right? Like there's an expanse in the suffering that could take place even more than we can imagine or not, and we don't exactly know. But I think airtime is powerful. We need to unveil, right? So having context and perspective for me would be, I need to give that a certain amount of attention and time and hear myself and talk it through and look at it and put it down and pay attention and ask what I would do if this is what's happening. And then I need a certain amount of time to say, it's time to close that, because in this day-to-day moment, this is what needs attention. And here's where I need to focus. And I think that we can do that. I think as humans, we know how to do that. And that's not necessarily compartmentalizing, pretending, going into denial. It's an appropriate amount of visioning. The vision for both the positive, like what do I want in place to take care of what's happening? And the vision for coming into the moment and looking and saying, what is happening right now that needs attention? In this, I call it the present realm, and then I call it the superficial realm, which is like our month to month this year, and then I call it the core or global realm, what happens in the big picture. They all need to be addressed somewhere. So if you're somebody who thinks that way, it strikes me usually that you're also a visionary, and if you're that visionary kind of person, you're gonna feel those things. We don't want you to not give that attention. The question is it swamping you and preventing you from doing what's required now? And if it's getting in the way of being the contribution needed in this present time, that would be the yellow flag, right? At least from my perspective. They're really valid fears.
Someone mentions the share before and speaks to the intensity, shock, and big global traumas, how to hold it, and what to do when we feel immobilized.
And we want the spaces to be available for that. And I think that's what I'm seeing as I say I want to carve more spaces out. I want to make room so that we have some place to put these things without, worrying about how someone else is going to hold it or handle it. And how do we just find the space to hold each other, to give enough care to say, oh, you're that voice today, which speaks to, half of us. And then you're the other voice that speaks to this other portion of us. And again, we'll all hold a collective voice if we share it together. We'll have all the parts and pieces. And we will get from time to time immobilized, all of us. I don't know how we live aware without having some of that experience. The question is, what do we do to take care of that so that we can mobilize again, or that we have someone else holding it for us? So maybe as I crumble in this way, it's not permanent. Like what happens when we isolate too much is that our experiences become permanent. What trauma does is makes one thing happen forever in the brain. So as soon as I immobilize and I'm traumatized and I have no place to share it or nothing to do with it, I'm there forever. I'm not coming out. And that's one of the tricky, slippery slopes we're trying to heal, so that we don't have to do that, to stay so isolated and in it that we can't actually find our way through to warm ourselves out, unfreeze, care for, get what we need, even a little or not, but still find a way back to the moment. And so thank you for all of that sharing. I think such important learnings on how to be human together. And what is a normal kind of gradation of what humans do when there's real tragedy. There's been real tragedies in these years. Really, I mean, the pandemic, like even if we just started at the pandemic, that I work in school systems too, and the impacts I'm seeing on these children and the teachers is like unreal. There's so much that has happened because of the pandemic and the COVID that still exists, and the way we want to also be in denial or hyper or whatever it is, all the things that got immobilized. And then we've had Trump, and then we've had, all the things that have come since. And then on October 7th a year, and a bump it a year ago. Whoa, that war affected, it rumbled everybody. And for me to witness, as someone who has many beloveds who have trusted me in the Jewish community to come and be a part of my circles, I was so rumbled by the splits and divides that felt like, oh, also ancient. And how to know that those will happen and still reach in and hold each other's hands. It is so hard. I appreciate all the stories not told that are in this space, all the feelings not shared. And I want to take a moment and let us know they're all here. All the things that are going on for people personally that don't even have bandwidth for this. For those of us dealing with beloveds who are in addiction right now, who are struggling with loss, or family members with cancer, or ourselves have had diagnoses, for all the things that we don't even know where to put because they're happening anyway, or this is not something I can even turn towards because those things are so dire and painful and in this present moment happening. I just want to take that moment and gift just our energy, our love, our heart space to include everyone, all the experiences being held at this time, and activate change, right? Healing. Yeah, immediately. Thank you all for showing up. I'm so appreciative of our space together. And just please take really good care of yourselves. This will probably be one in many circles that we'll create. We wanted we were being asked, honestly, to hold space. So we said yes, to show up in this moment, at this exact moment. And I know we'll need more, because I feel like as we make sense of what's happening to the best of our ability, there will be different layers of our healing that come to the table. There'll be different needs that come to the table. There'll be different resources that we want to share collectively with one another and have for each other and spaces. So Chloe's gonna give us a blessing and close up our space.
Thank you all so, so, so much. To just hear you and feel you and be together has just felt so enlivening and humanizing and important. And we will continue to gather as we go here. And I keep hearing, Gabriele, and one of the things you shared of just like the humanizing ourselves in the process. And what if this is a humanizing process of ourselves, of our beloveds, and also of everybody? What does it take to even catch ourselves from dehumanizing the Trump supporters, right? The people that voted for him, to not just be like half of our country or a third of our country are just completely stupid. It's just not true. It's just not true. And feeling that, like reaching for understanding and seeing each of us as humans and what the heck we're all struggling with and what the fears are making us do or say or reach for or vote for, and really just holding. It's a messy freaking soup pot of humanity here. But what does it take to not dehumanize any of us in the process, including ourselves? And it's just what was really stirring in me as I was listening to all of you. So appreciating it. And wanting to offer an activation we call Activate, Healer, Release, Victim, which is really about clearing out energy that isn't ours. Like whatever we've been processing throughout this day, throughout this election, throughout all of it, that it might be part of the shutdown or the complete overwhelm. Like, oh my God, if I feel this grief, it's just a never ending river of grief. And knowing that we're not clearing it to say we're not going to feel and we're not going to honor, but clearing it so that we can actually feel and find and tap into and know our own feelings, to know what's actually here and ours to look at, to work on, to be with, to hold. So if you want, let's command our bodies and our beings to release anything and everything that actually isn't ours, that would get in the way or fog us up and not actually allow us to feel what is, what potency, what agency, what power we actually have under here, under the fog and the confusion and the grief and the intensity and the overwhelm that we might be processing for the collective, for our beloveds. Let's command our bodies and beings to release anything and everything that actually isn't generative or required for us to hold, and gift it to the vibrational source of consciousness. Activate change and generate healing immediately. And if it feels good, take a nice cleansing breath in. You can even do a nice flush through We call this the shake it off. Just breathing it all the way through, like flushing the energy down and through the body, shaking it off. One more.
Yeah, let's really shake it off. Can I just add that it is so often that the people who are the perpetrators, if there are perpetrators, are not feeling anything. And the rest of us are taking that too. So let's be really cautious to not be taking the pain that those who are causing pain don't want to feel and actually feeling their pain on their behalf, then they don't have to, right? So let's just be aware that as sensitive, empathic healers who have decided to stay open to that part of ourselves, because everyone has it, we also have a tendency at times to actually take the pain from the people who need to be feeling it, and then therefore they don't. So let's do everything we can to say no, that we want our share of the pain, our share of the collective pain, our share of the personal pain. We want to be able to witness their pain, but we don't need to process for anybody else, especially if it's not generative or required for us or humanity. Activate change and generate healing immediately. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you all. And really, just if there's anything that this brought up that actually isn't needed for your night, for your sleep, let's just close circuits, kind of like close the curtain and not say, oh, I'm just not going to be able to receive, but anything that just isn't needed or generative for you and your sleep, knowing that anything that is can be nourished and supported and held and woven into your very fabric so that you get to walk with us and walk with you and walk with the healing, but closing up anything that isn't generative or required, and activate change and generate healing immediately. Feeling so much love for every single one of you here. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for
Thank you.
for loving, for feeling, for grieving, and for showing up for the long haul with us. We love you.
Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Let go, let go, let go.
Saying a huge thank you to Ali Halpert, the incredible musician and songwriter behind the songs featured in this podcast. To hear more of Ali's music and learn more, visit Ali's website at alihalpert.com. You can find the link in our show notes.